Hello. I wanted to pass on a few more random thoughts that I have about studying the Bible. One about doing like a book study, like a book of the Bible. Take Romans, for example, because I got the book of Romans here started. Maybe you have a notebook that you're taking notes in, or maybe you've got a notebook for each book of the Bible. I don't know, however, but I would have like a notebook handy where you can take some notes and you gather all your information in the beginning of, like who's writing this, who's it written to, what is the setting, what is the historical background, doing as much research about it as you can, reading the book in its entirety from start to finish, and then going back and just like really pondering the scripture, using the four the four things that I recommended in the first video, which are observation, interpretation, correlation, and application. Just observing all the details that you possibly can about that particular passage, and jotting those things down and writing them down, and observations that you're making about the people, the personalities, what's going on during that time period, and different perspectives, and all exploring all of these things and really just dissecting it to death almost. And so doing a study on a particular book. And then another good tip when you're studying a book in the Bible is maybe get some 3x5 cards and have one for each chapter. And on this 3x5 card, you can write what the overall theme is of that particular chapter. It's also important to note and to remember that in reading through Scripture, man is the one who put those chapters and verses in there because it just makes it easier for reference purposes. So, sometimes you're flowing from one chapter to the next, but you're still in the middle of the same thought. But anyway, maybe you have like a 3x5 card where you're writing the overall theme or a paraphrase or a summary of that particular chapter. And so by the time you get to the end of the chapter, you've got these cards and you can just kind of go through each of those cards and you've got the basic gist of what's in there. Not that it's not really important to dig into every single verse, but when it comes to correlation and when it comes to like deeper studies, just having a general knowledge, so writing it on flashcards really helps with just general knowledge of knowing the scripture, where to find things, where things are. So that is really helpful. And also something I wanted to share that I was just thinking about today. Let me see here. I can't remember which particular psalm it was. I was reading in the book of Psalms, which is another book that's really great to just like a vitamin, just get in there and read it daily because there's a lot. Okay, here's one, Psalm chapter 3. It says, at the very beginning, it says, a psalm of David when he fled from Absalom, his son. And used to, I would have just not really paid attention to that and just read the psalm and thought, that's good. But one day I was reading and I saw a psalm of David when he fled from Absalom, his son. So considering what was going on when David wrote that brought a whole new meaning on. And I do know the story about David and Absalom in the book of Samuel. I think it's 1 Samuel. First or second Samuel, I forget. But anyway, so what I did was I stopped and I went back and I read that story. And I mean, it was really interesting and I was getting so much out of it. And then that one thing led to another. And so I was in that for several days, just studying that and reading that. And God was teaching me a lot in that story. And then David's perspective in Psalm 3, like what he wrote, knowing what he was going on during that time. So anyway, so when you're in the book of Psalms and you see Psalm of David and knowing what was going on during that time, and then maybe going back and looking up the scriptures and the passages that refer to that, and then going back and reading the psalm again, you'll get a lot more out of it. I hope this helps. Bye.